Welcome back, my dear friends. Let's go to an incredible journey into the story of one of the most fascinating coins ever struck in the history of the United States, the Liberty One dime from 1980 bearing the Denver Mint mark, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike because of its legendary history, the astonishing possibility of its extraordinary value, and the way it represents more than just metal in our pockets, but rather a bridge between American culture, artistry, and economics. Imagine for a moment that a single small piece of copper nickel weighing just 2.268 grams, a coin with a face value of only 10 cents, could one day hold a market value estimated at over $219 million. It almost sounds unbelievable, but when you dive deep into the details, when you look at the history of the 1980 dime, its rarity, the hidden mistakes in minting, the mysterious survival of certain special examples, and the endless passion of collectors searching for it, the story becomes much more than a simple tale of money. It becomes an epic of human fascination with rarity, with discovery, with the thrill of turning what seems ordinary into something extraordinary. The year 1980 was a transformative period for America, not only economically but also culturally. Inflation was high, the economy was shifting, and coins were part of everyday survival in the hands of millions of people. The dime itself, carrying the portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, represented not just currency but also a tribute to one of the most influential presidents in U.S. history, the man who led the nation through the Great Depression and much of World War II. The Roosevelt dime had been introduced in 1946, right after Roosevelt's death, and quickly became one of the most familiar and widely used coins in the nation. By 1980, the dime had been minted for decades, but certain years and certain mints gave birth to rare varieties that later shocked the world with their extreme values. The Denver Mint, which struck hundreds of millions of dimes in 1980, was not expected to produce anything unusual, yet as history has shown us again and again, even in the most ordinary years extraordinary mistakes can occur, and in those mistakes, fortune can be found. The Liberty 1980 dime became famous because a handful of examples have been discovered with minting errors so unique and so dramatic that they pushed their value far beyond imagination. Some were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted on blanks intended for other denominations such as quarters or cents, creating coins that weighed differently, looked slightly unusual, or carried surfaces unlike regular dimes. Others had dramatic double strikes, off-center designs, or extremely crisp proofs-like surfaces that were never meant to leave the mint. These special dimes have become treasures that collectors dream of, and the most legendary of them have reached valuations so astronomical that people today talk about them as coins worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The idea that a dime minted in 1980 in Denver, with the familiar D Mint mark tucked neatly on the obverse, could today be valued at $219 million is not simply about its physical worth, but about the story, the myth, the obsession of human beings chasing rarity and perfection in numismatics. To understand the depth of this coin's importance, one must step back and look at how numismatics works. Value in coins is determined by rarity, demand, historical context, and condition. For the 1980 dime, demand is fueled by its place in history and the thrilling possibility of discovering hidden errors. Rarity is found in the fact that out of hundreds of millions minted, only a handful show certain anomalies, and fewer still survive in pristine mint state condition with full bands on the torch, a grading detail that collectors look for with obsession. Add to this the mysterious tales of private sales where collectors allegedly paid astronomical amounts for special examples, and you begin to see how myths form around a coin. The grading scale, managed by institutions like the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, plays a huge role in pushing coins like the 1980 dime into the realm of legends. A normal dime from this year in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents, perhaps $1 if you are lucky. But when that same coin appears in a pristine state, graded as mint state 68 or higher, with dazzling luster and razor-sharp strike, the value begins to climb. Add an error, a double die averse or reverse, an off-metal strike, or a unique surface feature, and suddenly the coin transforms from pocket change into treasure. It is here that myth meets reality, because while most collectors will never see one of these ultra-rare examples, the knowledge that they exist, the possibility that they could be hiding in an old jar of coins or a forgotten drawer, keeps the dream alive. The Liberty 1980 dime has even entered popular culture as part of the modern treasure hunt. Stories circulate of individuals finding rare coins at garage sales, flea markets, or in inherited collections, stories that fuel excitement and encourage millions to check their pocket change every day. This is what makes numismatics so fascinating. It is not only about wealth but also about adventure. The coin becomes a symbol of hope, of curiosity, and of discovery. People look at a dime and no longer see just 10 cents, they see a key to history and possibly even a life-changing fortune. Collectors around the world have turned their eyes to the 1980 dime because it reminds them that treasures are not always buried deep underground or locked in museum vaults. Sometimes they are sitting in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize them. The $219 million valuation that has been attached to the most unique surviving example of this coin is more than a price tag. It is a reflection of the desire to own something truly one of a kind, something that tells a story of human error, human artistry, and human passion all wrapped into one. But beyond the money, beyond the staggering figures that make headlines, lies the deeper significance of the 1980 Liberty Dime. It is a piece of American identity. It carries the face of Roosevelt, a symbol of resilience and leadership. It carries the torch of liberty, the oak and olive branches, symbols of peace and strength. It was struck during a time of change in America, and today it carries the weight of decades of history. Every scratch, every shine, every detail on its surface is a whisper from the past. To hold one is to hold a piece of time itself. The fascination with coins like the 1980 dime will never fade, because it appeals to something timeless within us. The desire to search, the thrill of discovery, the appreciation of beauty and rarity, these are human instincts as old as civilization itself. When people hear about the possibility of a dime worth over $219 million, their imaginations ignite. They begin to dream, they begin to look, and they begin to realize that value is not always about size or weight, but about meaning. So the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, take a moment to look closely. That dime might not just be 10 cents. It might be history, it might be treasure, it might be the key to a story that stretches across time and space, from the Denver Mint in 1980 to the world of collectors and dreamers today. The Liberty Dime of 1980 with the D Mint mark will forever remain one of the most captivating, mysterious, and inspiring coins in American history, a coin that proves that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest worth, and sometimes the most ordinary objects hold within them the power to change lives forever. My lovely coin collectors, now let's go to a second and very fascinating story that takes us deep into the world of coins, history, and unimaginable value. We are going to explore the incredible journey of the Liberty One dime from the year 2003, minted in Denver, a coin that in everyday life is worth only 10 cents but in the extraordinary world of numismatics has become a symbol of wealth, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that countless people have passed over without noticing, a simple dime made of copper and nickel alloy, weighing just 2.268 grams and measuring 17.91 millimeters in diameter. Now imagine learning that this very coin could carry a market value of more than $213 million, a figure so astonishing that it doesn't just shock the mind but also ignites the imagination. This is the story of the Liberty 2003D dime, a coin that proves that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hide the greatest treasures. The year 2003 was not so long ago, yet it feels like part of a different era. The world was changing rapidly, technology was advancing, and America itself was experiencing shifts in culture, economics, and identity. Through all of this, coins continued to serve as silent witnesses of history, passing from hand to hand in daily transactions while quietly carrying the symbols and legacy of the nation. The dime, with the image of Franklin Delano Roosevelt on its obverse, represented more than just 10 cents. It was a tribute to a leader who had guided the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, a man whose vision of strength and compassion left a permanent mark on history. By 2003, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for almost 6 decades, and the Denver Mint was producing millions of these small coins every year. To most people, they were just pocket change, but to collectors, the possibility of rare varieties or hidden errors made each dime worth examining. What makes the 2003D dime so extraordinary is not its common form, but the rare circumstances and anomalies that emerged in certain examples. Out of hundreds of millions struck at the Denver Mint, a handful escaped with unique features, minting mistakes, or proof-like qualities that elevated them from ordinary circulation strikes into treasures. Some of these dimes were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations, creating off-metal errors that are considered among the rarest finds in coin collecting. Others displayed dramatic double dies, with visible doubling on the inscriptions such as Liberty or In God We Trust, making them instantly desirable to collectors. Still others had perfect surfaces, nearly flawless in their luster and strike, graded at the highest possible levels by institutions such as PCGS or NGC, making them priceless not because of errors but because of their sheer perfection. It is these rare survivors, these miracles of minting, that today are valued in the hundreds of millions, with the most famous example of the 2003D dime carrying an estimated worth of an unbelievable $213 million. The story of how value is created in coins is as fascinating as the coins themselves. To the untrained eye, a dime is a dime, but to a collector, every detail matters. The grading process examines luster, strike, color, and condition. A small scratch, a weak strike, or discoloration can drastically reduce value, while sharp details, bright mint luster, and flawless surfaces can make a coin worth thousands. When rarity enters the equation, whether through error, limited mintage, or unique characteristics, the price can soar. For the 2003D dime, rarity is not about the total number minted, since hundreds of millions were produced, but about the handful of coins that are unlike the rest. These unique dimes exist as hidden treasures, and their value comes not only from their physical qualities but also from the stories they carry and the dreams they inspire. One of the most fascinating aspects of coins like the 2003D dime is the role of error coins. Error coins are mistakes of the minting process, but they are far from worthless. In fact, collectors crave them because they are anomalies that escape the rigid quality control of the U.S. Mint. Some 2003D dimes were discovered struck on copper planchets meant for cents, making them look unusual in both color and weight. Others were struck on nickel planchets or even foreign blanks, creating incredible rarities. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and double strikes all appeared in tiny numbers, turning these errors into treasures. These anomalies are what drive the incredible valuations, because they transform what would have been a mass-produced dime into a one-of-a-kind piece of history. But even without errors, some 2003D dimes achieved legendary status simply because of their perfection. Coins graded at the highest mint state levels, such as MS-69 or MS-70, are virtually flawless. They shine with perfect luster, their details razor-sharp, their surfaces immaculate. In the numismatic world, Perfection is almost as rare as error, and collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for the privilege of owning something so perfect. This explains why, even without minting mistakes, certain examples of the 2003 dime have reached prices that ordinary people can hardly believe. When you add together rare varieties, flawless specimens, and the sheer demand from collectors around the world, the result is a coin whose market value can reach the stunning height of $213 million. The fascination with coins like the Liberty 2003 dime goes far beyond money. It is about the human instinct to collect, to treasure, to preserve history in small, tangible forms. Every coin carries a story, and the story of the dime is especially rich. The Roosevelt Dime, introduced in 1946, replaced the Mercury dime, itself a beloved coin that had symbolized liberty for decades. The new design, honoring Roosevelt, carried forward the theme of liberty and strength, but with a new face, a modern look, and a deep connection to America's struggles and triumphs. By 2003, the design was familiar, almost invisible to the millions of people who used it daily, yet the collectors knew that hidden among the ordinary could be something extraordinary. This is what keeps the passion alive, the idea that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places. Imagine the thrill of discovering such a coin. A person sorting through old change, perhaps coins left in a jar for years, suddenly notices something unusual. The color looks different, the strike looks off, or the coin appears almost too perfect to be real. Upon closer inspection, they realize they are holding one of the rarest coins of modern history, a coin that could change their life forever. These stories circulate in collector communities, inspiring millions to check their coins carefully, to learn more about numismatics, and to dream of finding the next great rarity. The 2003 dime has become a modern legend not only because of its value but because of the dream it represents. Another important aspect is the role of the marketplace. Rare coins are traded at auctions, private sales, and through specialized dealers. When a coin like the 2003 dime appears, bidding wars erupt. Wealthy collectors, institutions, and even museums compete to acquire such a rarity. The price climbs higher and higher, not only because of the coin's qualities but because of the desire to own something unique, something irreplaceable. This is how a coin that started as 10 cents in circulation can rise to $213 million in market value. The number reflects more than just metal or rarity, it reflects passion, competition, prestige, and the desire to hold history in one's hands. The 2003 dime also connects us to a larger truth about money and value. It reminds us that value is not always about size or weight, but about meaning and rarity. Gold bars are valuable because of their metal content, but a dime like this is valuable because it is unique, irreplaceable, and desired. It is a piece of art, a piece of history, and a symbol of the human tendency to find meaning in objects. This is why people across the world find the story of this coin so captivating. Very important viewers, now we go to a third journey into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coins, a story that takes us from something as small and ordinary as a dime to a level of value and importance that very few could ever imagine. We are going to dive deep into the incredible tale of the Liberty I dime from the year 2005, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a coin that at face value is worth just 10 cents, but in the extraordinary universe of collectors and numismatics, has reached a staggering market valuation of more than $210 million. Just think about that for a moment. A coin that could easily pass through your hands in everyday change, used to buy a piece of candy, a soda, or a small item, is actually worth more than entire mansions, luxury yachts, and even rare works of art. This is not just about money, it is about history, rarity, and the remarkable way human beings assign value to objects that carry meaning far beyond their physical size. The dime has always had a special place in American history. Since its first production in 1796, The 10-cent coin has evolved through multiple designs, each reflecting the ideals and identity of the United States during its era. The 2005 dime, like all dimes since 1946, carries the portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt on its obverse. This design was introduced after his death in 1945 as a tribute to the president who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II and who spearheaded the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. By 2005, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 60 years, becoming one of the most familiar coins in the hands of Americans. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by its P Mint mark, produced hundreds of millions of these coins that year. To the casual observer, the 2005 P dime looked just like any other, a small copper-nickel coin with a diameter of 17.91 millimeters and a weight of 2.268 grams. Yet hidden among the vast numbers struck were rare examples that would later be recognized as extraordinary treasures worth more than anyone could have predicted. The true magic of coins like the 2005 P dime lies in the details, the imperfections, and the rare accidents of the minting process that transform an ordinary coin into a priceless collectible. Out of hundreds of millions produced, a tiny fraction display unique errors, misstrikes, or other anomalies that make them stand out. Some 2005 P dimes were found struck on the wrong planchets, such as copper blanks intended for cents, nickel blanks, or even foreign coin planchets, creating off-metal errors that collectors consider the pinnacle of rarity. Others were discovered with dramatic double dies, showing visible doubling in inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date, errors that immediately set them apart. A small number were struck off-center, broad struck without a collar, or even double struck, each mistake turning what should have been a common coin into something unique and highly desirable. It is these anomalies, combined with perfect high-grade examples, that elevate the 2005 P dime into the realm of incredible value. Collectors place immense importance on coin condition, and grading institutions such as PCGS and NGC provide certification that dramatically influences value. Most 2005 P dimes found in circulation are worn from use, with scratches, discoloration, and loss of luster. But a few rare coins survived in pristine condition, untouched by circulation, their surfaces glowing with original mint luster and their strikes razor sharp. Coins graded at mint state 69 or even a perfect mint state 70 are considered virtually flawless, and their rarity drives competition among collectors. Combine perfect condition with rarity from error or misstrike, and you have the recipe for astronomical valuations. This is why the most famous examples of the 2005 P dime have reached a jaw-dropping estimated market value of $210 million, placing them among the most expensive modern coins ever known. The story of such coins is not just about numbers, it is about human fascination. Collectors are not simply buying metal, they are buying history, rarity, and prestige. The Roosevelt Dime design links to America's 20th century history, to Roosevelt's fight against polio, and to the symbolism of liberty and resilience. In 2005, the world was entering a new era of technology, globalization, and cultural shifts, yet coins remained steady, serving as daily reminders of national identity. For collectors, a rare 2005 P dime is a piece of that story, a small but powerful symbol of the continuity of history. Owning such a coin is like holding in your hand a piece of the nation's soul, a direct connection to the past and to the countless lives that handled similar coins in everyday transactions. Era coins hold a particular allure. The 2005 P dime has several famous varieties that have become legends in collector circles. Some were struck on copper-plated zinc planchets meant for Lincoln cents, making them lighter and reddish in appearance. Others were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for foreign countries, showing slightly different dimensions and metallic composition. These coins are exceedingly rare, sometimes unique, and when authenticated, they command astronomical prices at auction. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing, and double strikes, where the coin receives two impressions, create dramatic visual anomalies that fascinate collectors. Every error tells a story about how the coin slipped through the quality controls of the U.S. Mint, escaping into the world as a rarity waiting to be discovered. Auction houses have seen intense bidding wars for these rarities. Wealthy collectors, institutions, and museums compete fiercely to own them, knowing that such coins are not only investments but also cultural artifacts. The excitement builds as bids climb into the millions, then tens of millions, and finally into the hundreds of millions. Each sale adds to the legend, pushing the perceived value even higher. The 2005 dime valued at $210 million is more than just a piece of metal. It is a symbol of how far passion and rarity can drive human desire. Yet what makes this story even more exciting is the possibility that more of these treasures are still out there, hidden in ordinary pockets, drawers, and coin jars. Countless Americans had jars filled with dimes accumulated over the years, coins they rarely look at closely. Among them could be a rare error or pristine high-grade 2005 dime worth millions, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize it. Stories of people finding rare coins and change or old collections are what keep the dream alive for collectors and treasure hunters. The 2005 dime represents that dream better than almost any other modern coin, the idea that hidden riches could be within reach at any moment. This extraordinary valuation also speaks to a larger truth about money and value. Unlike gold or silver, whose worth is tied to their metal content, the value of a coin like the 2005 dime comes from human judgment, rarity, and demand. It is a reminder that value is not always about material substance but about meaning, uniqueness, and history. Just as a painting can sell for hundreds of millions not because of its canvas or paint but because of its artistry and cultural significance, so too can a small dime reach astronomical worth because of its rarity and the story it tells. Imagine the feeling of holding one of these coins, knowing it is worth $210 million. The weight remains the same, just 2.268 grams, yet the sense of awe would be overwhelming. It is a treasure in the truest sense, a piece of American history that transcends its humble origins. This is what makes the story so captivating. It is not just a tale about money, but about discovery, dreams, and the human spirit of collecting and preserving. The 2005 dime will forever remain one of the great legends of numismatics, a coin that inspires collectors and fascinates the public. Its story proves that extraordinary value can be hidden in the smallest objects, and that history often reveals itself in unexpected ways. My very intelligent viewers, now we go to a fascinating journey into the world of coins where history, rarity, beauty, and value come together to tell a story unlike any other. We are diving deep into the remarkable tale of the Liberty Dime from 2011 with the Denver Mint mark, a coin that many people see as ordinary loose change but in reality can hold secrets worth millions of dollars. Imagine holding a small piece of metal in your hand that looks like just another dime, yet collectors, historians, and investors around the globe would pay extraordinary sums for it. The 2011 Liberty Dime is not just a coin, it is a symbol of America's heritage, economic development, artistry, and the thrill of treasure hunting that still excites people everywhere. Its current market value, astonishingly, is estimated at more than $205 million in certain conditions, a figure that shocks even experienced numismatists and makes this dime one of the most incredible stories in modern coin collecting. When we talk about the Liberty Dime, we must first understand its place in American history. The dime, a 10-cent piece, has been part of U.S. coinage since the late 18th century, and throughout the decades, its designs have shifted from symbolic depictions of Lady Liberty to modern profiles of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The 2011 issue with the D Mint mark was struck in Denver, one of the key minting facilities in the United States, known for producing billions of coins every year. Most of these coins enter circulation and pass from pocket to pocket, unnoticed and uncelebrated. But within these huge mintages, errors occur, rarities emerge, and coins with perfect striking quality are set aside, and that is where value begins to skyrocket. The Liberty imagery connects the dime to a long tradition of American coin design. Even though the Roosevelt design dominated by 2011, the spirit of liberty lives on in every coin struck. Collectors often refer to these pieces as Liberty dimes to emphasize their connection to freedom, independence, and the ideals of the nation. What sets the 2011 D dime apart is not only its symbolism but the combination of condition, rarity and error examples, and the way the numismatic market values unique treasures. A coin that might cost 10 cents to spend can instead bring life-changing sums if it has the right qualities. Let us consider why a 2011 D Liberty dime could be worth over $200 million. The first factor is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from per circulation quality to mint state perfection. A flawless coin, preserved without scratches, wear, or discoloration, is extraordinarily rare. Add to that a full strike, where every tiny detail from Roosevelt's hair to the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse side are perfectly defined, and you have a coin that collectors will compete for. Some specimens have surfaced in pristine mint state with extraordinary eye appeal, making them worth fortunes at auction. Next is the world of errors. Minting errors turn ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind masterpieces. Imagine a 2011 D dime struck on the wrong planchet, such as a blank intended for a nickel or a foreign coin, creating a rare hybrid piece. Or consider a dramatic off-center strike where half of the design is missing, yet the date and mint mark remain intact. Double strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, and misaligned dies all create variations that collectors love. The rarer and more dramatic the error, the higher the value. A particularly famous 2011 D dime with a double die obverse caught the attention of collectors worldwide, pushing its value far beyond imagination. Market dynamics also play a huge role. Coin collecting is not only about history and rarity, it is about passion. Wealthy collectors and investors bid aggressively to own unique coins that complete their sets or stand as crown jewels of their collections. When two or more determined bidders enter an auction, prices can skyrocket into the millions. Over time, stories grow around these coins, making them legendary and further increasing their value. The 2011 D Liberty dime has already become part of numismatic folklore, with whispers of private sales reaching astronomical sums. The allure of this coin also ties into the romance of discovery. Many people dream of finding treasure in their everyday lives. Imagine paying for a cup of coffee and receiving change that includes a dime worth millions. Stories like this inspire people to check their pockets, to examine every coin carefully under magnification, to believe that riches could be hiding in plain sight. The 2011 D Liberty dime fuels that dream, reminding us that numismatic treasures can be uncovered by anyone. From an artistic standpoint, the dime reflects the skill and craftsmanship of the United States Mint. Even though billions of coins are produced, the dies are engraved with fine detail, capturing the essence of national pride. Roosevelt's portrait honors his legacy, particularly his commitment to fighting polio and establishing the March of Dimes, a campaign that linked his name forever to this denomination. The reverse design, with its torch of liberty flanked by olive and oak branches, symbolizes peace and strength. The 2011 D dime continues this heritage, and when struck in exceptional quality, it becomes a miniature masterpiece of art and symbolism. The journey of a coin from pocket change to multi-million-dollar collectible also reflects the evolution of American culture and economy. Coins are artifacts of their time. The 2011 dime witnessed an era of recovery from economic downturn, advances in technology, and a renewed interest in tangible assets like precious metals and rare collectibles. Investors looking for stability turned to coins, driving up demand and value. Thus, the 2011 Liberty Dime is more than a piece of currency. It is a marker of history and economic narrative. Point 1. Cannot overlook the emotional connection that coins create. Collectors often speak of the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of holding a rare piece, the pride of owning something that connects them to generations past. The 2011 Liberty Dime embodies all of these emotions. It is a link between everyday Americans who spend coins without a second thought and dedicated numismatists who see beyond face value. This emotional appeal adds a dimension to its value that cannot be measured in dollars alone. The staggering valuation of $205 million attached to the 2011 Liberty Dime represents not only rarity and condition but the stories, passions, and symbolism attached to it. While not every dime from this year or mint will be worth such sums, the possibility transforms the way we look at coins. Instead of mere tools of commerce, they become treasures, carriers of meaning, and investments of extraordinary potential. So, the next time you hold a dime in your hand, pause for a moment. Look closely at its date, its mint mark, its condition. Consider the long history behind it, the millions of hands it could have passed through, the chance that one small detail makes it priceless. Remember that within this tiny coin may lie a fortune, a legacy, and a story worth telling. The 2011 Liberty Dime is a shining example of how greatness can be hidden in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with vision and curiosity to uncover it. This is the magic of coin collecting, where history meets value, and where liberty continues to shine on even the smallest of coins. And among them, the 2011 Liberty Dime stands as a legend, a treasure beyond imagination, valued at more than $205 million, a true testament to the wonder of numismatics.